This is Newsroom. Hello and welcome from Johannesburg in South Africa. My name is Eben Jansen. This show is live and is broadcast from our studios in Auckland Park. We're also streaming live on YouTube right now with our whole show, then available on our YouTube channel all of the time. Today, Jubilant workers have returned to work in their thousands on the Platinum Belt in South Africa this morning, but economists say this was a battle without a winner. Gautrain bus drivers have also embarked on an illegal strike this morning. Then we look at the first ever Diepsloot Arts Festival. And one of Europe's leading brands is recognizing Africa as a key future market. But first, Katrine Milan gives us a news update.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Katrine Milan. Let's take a look at the news making headlines this morning. Members of the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union in the Northwest returned to work for the first time in over 5 months this morning. This after AMCU leadership and mine bosses signed a 3-year settlement in Johannesburg yesterday, bringing an end to the crippling strike. The Platinum Belt is said to be a hive of activity this morning. Gautrain has asked bus commuters to make alternative arrangements this morning as bus services in certain areas have been disrupted as a result of an illegal driver's strike. In news from the rest of the continent, Islamic extremists have abducted 60 more girls and women and 31 boys from villages in northeast Nigeria. Security forces denied the kidnappings. Nigeria's government and military have attracted widespread criticism for their slow response to the abductions of more than 200 schoolgirls kidnapped in April this year. Uruguayan footballer Luis Suarez is at the center of outrage in the sporting community again for allegedly biting Italian player Giorgio Chiellini. Football governing body FIFA has confirmed that disciplinary proceedings have been opened against Suarez. The incident took place in yesterday's World Cup match between the South Americans and Italy. Now, despite all the Suarez controversy, Uruguay did advance to the next round by beating Italy 1-0. The final round of Group C matches decided the next 4 opponents in the round of 16. Colombia will play Uruguay in the second round, and Greece set up a last 16 clash with Costa Rica after a 2-1 win over the Ivory Coast. Remember, all these top stories are available on our Facebook page. You can also follow us on Twitter at SABC Newsroom. Eben, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Katrina. Very good morning to you once again. The Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union, AMCU President Joseph Matundra, has described as baseless some economists' suggestions that the protracted and crippling platinum strike has been a battle without winners. Thousands of workers who have been on strike since January returned to work earlier today. But Labour economist Loan Sharp says the country needs to look at labour laws and regulations and see how they can promote peace in the labour sector. He says factors driving unrest are protests, strikes in the mining sector, wage settlements that are above inflation and falling productivity. He says South African labour relations framework, which gives rise to periodic crises, needs to be revisited. Now, Loan Sharp joins us in the studio this morning to analyse and discuss the longest strike in the history of South Africa. Good morning and thank you for joining us. A mouthful. Looking back at this strike, what are your views? What are the feelings that you have? Regret, pity, joy?
The overwhelming feeling is that now that the strike has ended, the public and investors seem to be breathing a sigh of relief, and I think with good reason. The strike might have ended, but the propensity to strike in the economy continues. So we're looking at a gold industry strike, potential further strikes from AMCU in the Platinum Belt. We're looking at strikes from automotive workers, transport workers. The economy is now losing as many work days to strikes each year as we did during rolling mass action against apartheid. So democracy has not brought industrial peace, and we need to start asking the question why.
Isn't the answer maybe the fact that we're living in the most unequal society, or one of the most unequal societies in the world? The cost of living has spiraled out of control almost in recent times, and the people are struggling. And these strikes are simply showing us that something needs to be done, something more needs to be done.
Well, it's absolutely true that trade union rhetoric wins public support because there's widespread support for improving the living conditions of workers. And that's what AMCU has been saying. That's what they're fighting for. But there are economic consequences that are not quite so clear. If you look at union tactics, particularly as they're being revealed during the Marikana Commission of Inquiry, unions are using these unrealistic wage demands to push up wages for entry-level workers, to exclude young and inexperienced and less skilled workers from the workforce. So there's a sinister motive behind demanding high entry-level wages because it protects the established, mainly unionized, higher skilled, experienced workers. Yeah. It protects them from competition from young people.
Is there a political element to these strikes? We just saw pictures with a guy like Advocate Dalian Pofu sitting with Joseph Matunja. He, of course, is with economic freedom fighters we know came through the election. Is there political undertone to these strikes and to almost militarizing the workers?
Well, there's definitely been aggravation, political aggravation of the strike. You'll remember right in the beginning, even before the strike was contemplated, then Minister of Mines Susan Shabangu jumped up and down when Amplats announced it would lay off 14,000 workers. And she threatened to revoke the mining licenses of Amplats and sell them on to other parties. We also saw during this entire strike the Minister of Labour, Mildred Oliphant, has been notably silent, showing how much the Department of Labour has been captured by trade union interests. And we've seen the new mining minister, Ramatlodi, we've seen him leap into negotiations and bounce out 3 days later with no result. There's definitely a political interference element in the strike, but that's natural. You can't blame politicians for opportunism. You can't blame workers for wanting higher wages. You can't blame companies for wanting higher profits. For me, the culpable parties in this strike and why it continued for so long and was so damaging are the courts, because the courts refused to intervene in this civil dispute. In civil disputes like divorces and hostile takeovers, the courts get involved and arbitrate unresolved disputes. The courts, in this case, handed matters back to the parties and refused to get involved. The Constitutional Court, in particular, has the challenge of counterbalancing the right to strike against the right of businesses to operate. Yeah. Those are both enshrined in the Constitution, and until we get guidance from the Constitutional Court about how those two rights will be counterbalanced, these sorts of strikes will continue.
Recovery now is the magic word. I would think recovery and sustainability going forward. What is it going to take? You've got a minute to tell us. What's it going to take for all parties to recover from this?
These parties will not recover. Workers will take 8 years to recover the earnings lost in these 5 months from the little incremental gains they've had in wages. Companies will never recover the production that they've lost, even if they add extra shifts, etc. Investor confidence in the mining sector is permanently damaged, and mining employment is going to fall further. We expect by about 250,000 jobs in the next year. Remember, mining employment has fallen over the last 20 years from 1.4 million to 550,000. Yeah. So the mining sector has become substantially more capital intensive.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning. That's Labour economist Loan Sharp. Thank you once again for your views. Now, more than 70,000 workers on the Platinum Belt have started to return to work since early this morning, officially ending the 3-month strike on the Platinum Belt. The leadership of AMCU signed a wage deal with employees yesterday. From today, workers at Lonmin receive wage increases of R1,000 for 3 years, while Amplats and Impala employees will receive increases of R1,000 for 2 years and R950 in the third year. Workers have welcomed what they see as a windfall. SABC reporter Sello Tatai has been monitoring the workers' movement since early this morning and joins us from Lonmin in Marikana. Good morning, Sello.
Good morning, Eben.
Sello, just sketch the picture for us. What's the mood been since workers started trickling back to work this morning?
Well, as I'm talking to you right now, even thousands of mine workers are gathered at the Vonderkop Stadium for what is called an induction process, which will proceed until later this afternoon, rather. We are also told that there are workers who are going through medical checkups and assessment at the Andrew Safi Hospital. We have spoken to shop stewards here at Marikana who have told us that there are workers who are driving from the Eastern Cape. You'll understand that many of the workers who are working here at the Platinum Belt, the majority of them are from the Eastern Cape and other countries such as Lesotho, Botswana and Mozambique. And we are expecting a high volume of these workers later this afternoon. They'll also be put through that induction process, and they'll also be put through medical assessment and checkups. The mine management has indicated that it might take at least a week for operations to be in full swing, but this is just by the preparation for workers to be fully fledged for reporting for duty on Monday.
Have you managed to talk to some of the workers, Sello? What do they say, and do we have a police presence in the area?
Well, we have spoken to workers. They have indicated that they are happy that they will be officially reporting for duty anytime soon, saying that the back pay that they'll get in 7 days will go a long way in settling their debt, saying that they'll be able to provide for their families. You'll know that even according to studies that have been conducted here at the Platinum Belt, these mine workers are not providing only for their families, but there are also extended families who are heavily reliant on these mine workers for economic survival. There are many mine workers that they have spoken to earlier on. They have told us that they are happy that they'll now be able to provide for their families and to a large extent alleviate the high levels of poverty that have been prevalent here in the past 5 months.
Sello, just tell us, are there any provision for workers who are not able to report for duty today?
Yes, there are provisions. We are told that this process of inductions and medical checkups will run until Friday. Hence, I mentioned earlier on that the mine management have indicated that it might take at least a week for operations to be in full swing. So there is that time frame which starts from today until Friday for workers to officially go through those processes before they can start with their duties on Monday.
And finally, Sello, tell us about the reaction of the local communities to the restart of work and also businesses. What are they saying in the area?
Well, the signing of the new agreement came as a relief not only to residents but businesses as well. You remember that for the past 5 months that we have been here, businesses in the area have really taken a knock and other business operations were forced to close shop. We've also spoken to the municipality who told us that people have not been paying their rates and taxes, and that has had a detrimental effect on how the municipality has been collecting those particular taxes and rates. But as far as things stand, people have expressed their satisfaction with how things have unfolded in the past 2 weeks, saying that the local economy has suffered enormously as a result of this strike action, but they are hoping that going forward things will turn out for the best.
Sello Tatai coming to you live from the Lonmin mine in Marikana. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Just to recap, of course, that's our top story. Platinum miners who've been on strike for the past 5 months have gone back to work in their droves early this morning. The AMCU union and 3 platinum companies signed an agreement to end the strike yesterday.
AMCU President Joseph Mathunjwa and his followers celebrating the end of the longest strike in the country's mining history. The agreement will double the salaries of the lowest paid to 8,400 rand over the next 3 years. That's significantly less than the 12,500 rand AMCU was demanding throughout the 5-month strike. But Mathunjwa says it's still an important victory for the miners.
This agreement will increase the minimum basic salary in all the 3 producers to 8,450 in the 3rd year. AMCU is committed to utilize all lawful methods to ensure that the minimum wage of 12,500 will be reached by no later than 2017. As such, we are confident that this has been a painful but necessary struggle to transform the lives of our members.
Platinum bosses are breathing a huge sigh of relief.
This has brought an end to an unprecedented 5 months strike in the platinum industry and has really stopped the untold hardships that our employees, our communities, and our country indeed has suffered over the last few months, and is signifying a beginning of rebuilding our businesses and our communities and our relationships.
AMCU has failed to get an assurance that there aren't going to be any retrenchments. Mbongeni Mutwa, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Well, let's take a look now at some of the front pages. What's on the front pages of the world this morning? In the United Kingdom this morning, front page news, former Sun editor Rebecca Brooks has been cleared of any wrongdoing in the phone hacking scandal that led to the closure of the News of the World newspaper. Andy Coulson, David Cameron's former communications director, was in fact found guilty. Then, of course, in your South American papers this morning, all focusing on the controversy surrounding Luis Suarez. Of course, he stands accused of biting an Italian player in their World Cup match last night. 3 bites and you're out. That's pretty much on point there. It's been going on social media for the last 12 hours. It's actually the only thing I think that people are talking about on social media at the moment. But here in South Africa, of course, the focus is still on workers returning to work today. Let's have a look at what you're saying on that. We'll talk about Luis Suarez a little bit later. Gillian Elson says, welcome back. Platinum Strike ended. Thank you, Gift to the Givers, for their unfailing support to the Platinum Strike community. That's right. We had Gift to the Givers with us yesterday. Sammy Klappy says, our brothers and sisters are going back to work after 5 solid months. Yes, it's been a long time, and the people have really suffered. Hunger was a real issue down on the platinum. Ms. Pindi says, can the mine bosses or AMCU or EFF or government also help the miners with some financial literacy workshops and training? Please, she begs. Aaron Pretoria says, this is satisfying. Well done, AMCU and the miners, for peaceful steadfastness. AMCU dances to victory. Of course, there you have that picture of dancing. Nothing to celebrate. The caption on it. There we have the real image coming out of the platinum belt. A mine worker preparing to go back to work. There you have some of the pictures. Those are just some of the pictures on our Facebook page. Not on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page at SABC Newsroom. That's where we are. We'll take a short commercial break. Newsroom will be back right after this.
I once saw a flower blossom through 27 prison bars of yesterday's unjust flames. I felt an old woman's anticipation for the country's first open elections. And I heard the loud celebrations of that flower's historic inauguration. I was there when Unity sang of how the Springbok never held anything back. And we saw a first-time band of 11 men, Shibobo possibility throughout the land. At the foot of Africa, time remembers how truth can reconcile a people. We carved our name into space, and on the world stage, our art stood united. When we blow that vuvuzela, the whole world goes into a trance. And even in that tearful hour of the flower's separation, we are a people who see the music and hear the flowers dance. SABC, sharing 20 years of inspiration.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom on SABC News. This morning, commuters in Johannesburg have been stranded as many Gautrain bus drivers embarked on an illegal strike because of a wage increase misunderstanding, they say. Well, now to give us the latest, we have Gautrain spokesperson Errol Braithwaite on the line. Good morning, Errol.
Eben, good morning.
There are reports that the strike is now over. Errol, can you confirm this? Is that accurate?
Yes, indeed, Eben. I'm very pleased to be able to say that all of our buses are running on all of the routes again. So that's a great relief. What happened, Eben, as you correctly said in your intro, it does seem that it was a misunderstanding. There was a wage agreement signed at the Collective Bargaining Council in May. That agreement comes into effect on the 1st of July. Our bus drivers got paid yesterday, looked at their pay slips and saw that they didn't get an increase because, obviously it's only due in July, but they were expecting it yesterday. And so some of them took it upon themselves to just walk off the job there and then, which is massively unfortunate, obviously. But so what we did yesterday evening, we had a meeting with them, and again from about 4:30 this morning, and I'm pleased to be able to say that everyone is back at work as we speak.
Will there be a disciplinary action against those that walked off the job?
Yes, Eben, it's very unfortunate, but when people disregard process and take matters into their own hands like this, I'm afraid there are consequences. Fortunately, everyone's back at work now, but we do need to follow the rules and follow the process, and we sincerely hope that everyone will respect that at all times.
Now, not all stations were affected, I understand. Just tell us which were the worst affected and whether, commuters were stranded and frustrated.
Well, fortunately, the incident started after most of our commuters had already exited the system yesterday evening. So not too many were affected yesterday evening. And we managed to get information to commuters quite quickly via the social media and also direct SMSs to their cell phones. This morning, the worst affected stations were Sandton and Rosebank. Tshwane, in fact, was unaffected altogether, and so too was the Johannesburg CBD. But certainly, Rosebank, Sandton, Midrand, and Rhodesfield in Ekurhuleni were very heavily impacted this morning.
Now, Errol, you guys are very active on social media. Is this very effective in communicating with commuters? Do you believe that everyone was informed in time in this instance?
Eben, it's probably the single most effective way that we have of communicating with our customers. We also have an SMS service directly to people's phones who subscribe to the service. But you often find in reality that that messaging through system problems and network issues, whatever, is delayed by maybe 40 minutes, whereas we find that the Twitter and Facebook is almost instantaneous into people's phones. So we find it a very effective way of communicating with customers. And also, of course, we do rely heavily on our friends in the media, such as yourselves and the radio stations and so on. They're always very good, with their traffic reports and so on getting the information out quite quickly.
Well, Errol, thank you very much for being always available and bringing the very latest information to commuters and ourselves. Thank you for joining us this morning and clearing up this matter. Thank you.
Thanks, Eben. Chat later.
Well, now, the Diepsloot Arts Festival is a short-term project that we're looking at next with Katrine Milan.
Yes, so the Deepsluit Youth in Action organisation is bringing the world of arts to Diepsluit in the form of the first ever Diepsloot Arts Alive Festival, a short-term youth development project. Hopes are that the project will reach out to all the youth in Diepsluit. It is an opportunity for young people to voice their views and feelings through arts, to encourage youth involvement and local activities and motivate them to take part in arts and culture-related activities. We are now joined by Newsroom, the president of the Deepsluit Youth in Action. Welcome to Newsroom.
Hey, welcome. How are you?
Great. I want to start off with can you start off with painting us a picture of the youth today in Diepsluit?
Well, youth in Diepsluit today, they are faced with more global challenges, which include the issues of unemployment, the lack of opportunities to further their education, and a lack of involvement in arts and culture activities, sports and recreation, and more involvement into bad negative stuff like drug and alcohol abuse.
Now, this festival, it aims of benefiting them how?
So actually, the Diepsluit Arts Live Festival will create an opportunity for youth to learn more about the arts industry, and also it creates opportunities for employment depending on getting sponsorship.
Now, tell us a bit more about the thinking behind the festival, where it all started, and I understand it's the first year that this will be running.
Well, yeah, the festival will be running for the first time. So we just look at the lack of opportunities for the youth to expose their talent. Then we just thought maybe if we can give them something where it can serve as a platform to expose their talent and give them opportunity to potential sponsors and supporters to grow their skills.
Now we're looking here at some pictures. I see soccer and some groups forming. Can you tell us a bit more about the work the Deepsluit Youth in Action organisation does in a place like Deepsluit?
Basically, Deepsluit Youth in Action on daily basis hosts about plus 80 youth on sports and recreation activities where they do theatre, drama, acting, poetry, music and dance. And also in football, we have got football, which is called Eben Jansen Academy. Then we are looking also to add on netball and the rest and other sporting code on Deepsluit Action activities.
And through these activities, you help benefiting and fighting these challenges that the youth.
Yes, definitely. Because of what we do, we talk to the youth in terms of giving them motivation. Then you also try to link up with other organizations to open opportunities for them. Like in the meanwhile, we're working with the National State Theatre, like our youth on the 27 and 28 with Penn State Theatre attending a workshop run by the American production.
Now, it will be the first year of this festival. What are your expectations for the festival? And I understand that you are still also looking for some sponsors.
Yes. Basically, what we're doing this year, we're just launching the festival, painting the picture to the minds of the people, knowing that there is a festival that is running in Deepsluit each and every year for 6 days. Then what we're trying to do, we're trying to build up relationships amongst all the arts groups in Deepsluit and outside the community, and also marketing the work that youth is doing within Deepsluit.
Any big names that are already involved?
Yet we don't have so much of the big names already involved, but we're also looking to include people like in the State Theatre and also the City of Johannesburg and also the Department of Sports and Recreation in Gauteng.
Now, if people want to get involved or donate or become just be an artist in the Arts Festival, how can they become involved?
Well, for becoming a part, whether in a group or as an individual, you can just email us at deepsluit.inaction, dya@gmail, or nga.nel@gmail. Then you can also follow us on our Facebook page and also on our Twitter at dya@Deepsluit. And for donations, you can give us a call at 072-9595-749.
What are the talents like in Deepsluit? I see drama, I see sport, I see arts.
No, yeah, the youth in Deepslut's got talent. The only challenge they are facing, they don't have those opportunities to expose their talent, to expose their work, of which then discourage them from getting through the activities and end up getting involved with the gangsterism and drugs and alcohol abuse. So I guess the festival will provide that opportunity for them to be seen outside by the world, because there's a lot of good work that is happening around Deepsluit, but due to the lack of opportunities, then they are unable to expose their skills.
Well, Nkamyisu, thank you so much for joining us, and certainly we'll be uploading the information to our Facebook page. If you want to become involved, you can just go there, click on the link, and you can get involved with the Deepsluit Arts Alive Festival, the first year that it will be running. Now, social media this morning, it's a hype, and Eben keeps us up to date.
Yeah, Catherine, you won't believe Luis Suarez has caused an absolute sensation all around the world. It's the only thing that people are really talking about. It's a name dominating. Let's just have a look at some of your comments, what you say about this incident. Richard Varela says, "Silly Suarez, I need a glass of wine when you eat your Italian He says that's a little bit of humor. I think Suarez has a condition where he needs to feed off the blood of one defender every year if he wants a good 12 months, says footy writer. That's of course, LFC. Liverpool match photo says Suarez is like Van Gogh. He's a tad nuts, but his artwork is beautiful. Well, there you see the damage caused by Luis Suarez. Only 2 little spots there on Chiellini's shoulder. It wasn't that bad. How we see Italian food is a nice picture, I think. Now, this is how Suarez sees Italian food. That's Troll Football put that picture up. Of course, these are just some of the things coming through. Also, we have a few pictures. What is it? Well, how can we not look at this kind of thing without having a few giggles and without a few jokes being made? Let's take a look at some of the spoof photos that come out overnight after Luis Suarez. There you have one of my favorites, the Jaws picture. I thought it was a lovely spoof. Sua Jaws, it's called. There you have him in a little doggy neck doggy neck brace to make sure he doesn't bite anybody, I suppose. There's the Hannibal Lecter of football, Luis Suarez, a man who's had a 3rd bite. Well, 3 bites in 2 years, or 3 bites in 3 years. Couple of years. It's a bit of a misnomer, really. It's been all the rage on all the social platforms the last couple of days. Now, of course, on our Facebook page, this is what's going on today. You will see there that the Reserve Bank has warned inflation is above its 3 to 6% target band and that it could rise further in our deteriorated domestic economic environment. In Pretoria North, a woman was hacked to death by her husband with an axe. And also, of course, you can read more on Luis Suarez, who has officially been charged, I can tell you, by FIFA with biting Italian defender Giorgio Chiellini. Also, it's been 5 years since the king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away. Yet, his career is more alive than it has been in decades. Just last month, the singer moonwalked across a Las Vegas stage in a nationally televised hologram performance. Jackson's fans, still as loyal as ever, will participate in tributes worldwide to commemorate the anniversary today. Let's take a sneak peek at that hologram performance last month in Vegas.
She dances for the man at work who works overtime. She can't be rude as she sits and I must be home to the noise. She dances to the kitchen stove. Dinner is served by 9. He says his cruise an hour later. She must be out of her mind. She's a slave to the rhythm. She's a slave to the rhythm. She's a slave to the
.99% Zulu has returned to the Lyric Theatre in Gold Reef City in Johannesburg this weekend.
Now do the Mateba jive. The Mateba jive. This guy doesn't know how to do the Mateba jive. What?
Sarah Dupree is bringing his celebrity impersonations to Johannesburg. Audiences will be treated to nights of glitz and glamour and Cher, Lady Gaga, Tina Turner and more impersonations.
That's Afro Showbiz News, Saturdays 7:30 p.m. on SABC News.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom on SABC News, and let's take a look at the news making headlines this morning. Members of the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union in the Northwest returned to work for the first time in over 5 months this morning. This after AMCU leadership and mine bosses signed a 3-year settlement in Johannesburg yesterday, bringing an end to the crippling strike. The Platinum Belt is said to be a hive of activity this morning. Gautrain has asked bus commuters to make alternative arrangements this morning as bus services in certain areas have been disrupted as a result of an illegal driver's strike. In news from the rest of the continent, Islamic extremists have abducted 60 more girls and women and 31 boys from villages in northeast Nigeria. Security forces denied the kidnappings. Nigeria government and military have attracted widespread criticism for their slow response to the abduction of more than 200 schoolgirls kidnapped in April. Uruguayan footballer Luis Suarez is at the center of outrage in the sporting community again for allegedly biting Italian player Giorgio Chiellini. Football governing body FIFA has confirmed that disciplinary proceedings have been opened against Suarez. The incident took place in yesterday's World Cup match between the South Americans and Italy. Then, despite all the Suarez controversy, Uruguay did advance to the next round by beating Italy 1-0. The final round of Group C matches decided the next 4 opponents in the round of 16. Colombia will play Uruguay in the second round, and Greece set up a last 16 clash with Costa Rica after a 2-1 win over the Ivory Coast. Well, Eben is standing by with some interesting fashion news in Africa.
Yeah, thanks very much, Katrina. Now, Suit Supply, the leading European men's fashion brand, is officially launching in South Africa this week. That's joining a growing list of international lifestyle and luxury brands that are setting up operations on the African continent. Dutch entrepreneur Fokke de Jong founded the brand in the year 2000. As the story goes, de Jong was only 27 years old and completing a law degree at a university in Holland when he started selling clothes from the trunk of his car. He joins us this morning in our studio in Cape Town. Very good morning to you, Mr. de Jong. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
You just heard, is it true that it all started in the trunk of your car?
Well, yeah, I had to make money like many in college, so that's how I ended up in fashion. I sold suits in offices in Friday afternoons, and that's how I learned about tailoring.
Now, tell me about this latest expansion. You guys are all over the world. You're now expanding into Africa. The continent has some of the fastest growing economies in the world now. It must make it a lucrative future market for yourself and other luxury brands.
Absolutely. We're very optimistic about the market. We've seen a lot of demand on our online business. We've constructed our online business in such a way that our customers don't have to deal with customs and a lot of other hassle you normally encounter when ordering in Africa. And that made it a very interesting probe for us to see what the potential is in the African market. And South Africa has for us, seen a booming demand. So we decided to open a physical store now. We're going to start with a pop-up store and hopefully with a definite store in the very, very near future.
Tell us about the idea behind the suit. Is the suit becoming a fashion icon again? Is it making that big comeback in the 21st century?
Well, I don't think it's ever been gone, but we are seeing, for instance, we're seeing guys like Bruno Mars, Leonardo DiCaprio, Macklemore, all people we're dressing right now, and here we're using suits in their performances. So suits, next to what had always been a very essential classic piece in men's fashion, we're also seeing it going into popular culture. And I think what we're doing is we're bringing a whole kind of new energy to the whole tailoring feeling, to the whole suit environment. The product we have a classical product that we're bringing in with a new kind of energy. So it's not your dad kind of a suit.
It's not your dad's kind of suit. It's actually the one of yours that I'm wearing this morning, and I must say, it's not something my father would have worn. But I wanted to ask you, you ranked number 1 by the Wall Street Journal. How has Suit Supply over the years become one of the game changers in fashion now?
What we are doing, we're actually bringing a very, very high quality garment for an attainable price point. The reason why we got number one is we're bringing a $3,000 suit for the price of $300-400. And to make a nice suit, what decides what a nice suit is about an elegant fit and how the suit fits. It's not. That's the main important thing. And to do that, you cannot only make the suit a little smaller here and there, you have to construct it in a completely different way. So if you look at our suits, and that's why the Wall Street Journal awarded us number one, like GQ and all the New York Mag, and what we do is the inside of our suits, you see there's very thin layers of cotton enforced with horsehair, like the Italians made suits 70, 80 years ago. And we made this traditional way of constructing suits, we brought that back in the product. And that's and what you get at the end of the day is a very nice, elegant fitting product with a lot of wearing comfort. I mean, you don't feel completely enclosed and locked into it, even though it's nicely fitted.
I can vouch for that. I'm wearing it today and I don't feel uncomfortable at all. I wear a suit almost every day of my life, and for the first time I'm wearing something that's a little bit fitted today that's really very comfortable. So fantastic work. But finally, just tell us about your pop-up store that you're opening and then your vision for the brand in South Africa and then Africa.
Well, Africa is obviously, like you mentioned, is a very fast growing economy, but second to that, I mean, it's a very, very fashionable economy. People like to dress up. They're very interested in fashion. So we're very optimistic about the market. Of course, it's not Switzerland in a way many parts of Africa are structured, but there is a great, we see a great demand and a great interest, and also with younger people. So we are very, very, very optimistic.
Well, fantastic. We hope that it goes very well because it's a product that I think is needed in Africa. Thank you for joining us live from Cape Town this morning. That is the man who started Suit Supply, one of the leading brands now in the world, Fokker de Jong. Of course, we're not done with him yet. Let's talk about their expansion here in Africa. Talk to the designer, amongst others, Katrine Miller.
Well, thank you. Yes, here in our studio in Johannesburg, we have Tanya Habimana, African manager of Suit Supply, as well as local designer, head designer of Suit Supply, Marie Kutsia. Welcome to Newsroom, guys.
Thank you.
Tanya, I would like to start off with you, the brand in Africa. Dream come true?
Absolutely. We started out with an e-commerce site, an online site, which came about from, what we have in Suit Supply, which is very nice, is that every employee has to go through suit school. So going through suit school, you work in the store and you learn the ins and outs of tailoring and suiting and really get to know the quality behind it. And while I was doing that, we came across a lot of South African customers from Nigeria, Kenya, going into our stores in Amsterdam, in New York, while they're on vacation or business trips and buying and then returning. So we thought, well, why don't we go with an e-commerce site and deliver the suits? So we started with that. Demand grew with a certain take. After we opened it up and added things like we pay for customs duty and all transportation is on us, the demand kept on growing. And then we thought, okay, well, let's go in and bring our products to the customers and be service-focused and open this pop-up store, yes.
Well, Murray, just let me in on being a designer, part of this global brand. What's it like?
It's an amazing company and brand to work for. It's extraordinarily dynamic. And we have the fortunate situation where we work with only the best products and suppliers from within Europe. So our fabrics are beautiful, our styling is beautiful. We have a very dynamic young team. So it's wonderful. It's sort of a dream come true job.
Now the launch of the store is tomorrow night, if I'm correct. Can you guys just tell me about the store location? I know there's some significance to it being in a mansion as well.
Yes, well, what we wanted to do is bring a sort of homely and exclusive feel to the whole shopping experience. So we've got this nice little mansion in Hyde Park area, where customers can come in and, shop in a relaxed and tailored environment, but still quality and, of course, choice is not compromised. It's a complete store. There's an on-site tailor, so alterations can be made on the day as you wait and enjoy the views of the mansion.
And then the collection tomorrow night. Can you tell us more about what we'll be seeing tomorrow night?
Well, you'll definitely be seeing our beautiful tailoring. I think you'll see some very classic pieces, staples that every man needs in his cupboard. The basic good blue suit, the basic good white shirt. But we also always have an element of fun, a younger element, a more fashion-forward element in our collection that I think you will definitely see. And it's always surprising. Suits have this bad reputation of being staid and oversized, and we've moved away from that, and we've given it a new lease of life. So you'll see a lot of basics, but you'll see a lot of beautiful one-off pieces that you don't assume would be in a shop that sells suits.
Now, I know Eben is dressed in suit supply this morning, and I don't know if we've got a shot from him or he's here somewhere.
Modeling, I'll come in, Katrine.
Now, can you tell us, is this a classic suit supply suit? What can we be expecting?
Okay, this is one of our more classic suits. The very important thing about a suit is the fit. After that, the fabric. As a designer, you stay a fabric junkie, but the fit is paramount. What you'd see here is that it sort of shapes to his body, but it's not constricting. It has a beautiful Neapolitan shoulder, which actually complements his shoulder. So it doesn't take over his body, it complements his body. And I think that's paramount when it comes to a suit.
I heard the term canvas fitting this morning. Is that what we're dealing with here?
Well, you have two ways of making a suit. There's a way of doing it with glue. We stay away from that. Canvas on the inside of a suit actually forms to your body after a while, after wearing it. And it's a much more beautiful way of making a suit. It's the more traditional way of making a suit. So actually you're not glued in to your suit. You're stitched in. So the inner lining, the inner layer is stitched into the suit. So therefore the drape of the fabric is more evident and the fit of the suit is way, way better. Also what's important with our suits and in the shop, we always make sure that it fits perfectly. We've got an in-house tailor. The sleeves are always perfect in length, the length of the trouser. These details are very important for us.
Yeah, suits these days, not only just formal attire anymore, it's now more casual as well.
No, I mean, I'm not a suit wearer and I wear suits because it's become a big thing. There's a huge resurgence of suits and in fashion. Absolutely.
Well, Tanya, just to wrap with you, the expectations for this brand in Africa and in which we do broadcast to the entire continent. In other countries, can we be expecting suit supply pretty soon?
I think from looking at the interest that we've received, that Nigeria is a very good market for us, and Kenya.
Well, guys, great. And then just the details tomorrow night.
Well, tomorrow night will be an evening of tailoring, fashion and high quality. The store will be open from there onwards every day, and you can get more details online on suitsupply.com.
Great. We'll upload those links to the event tomorrow night to our Facebook page. You can also find it there. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Eben, you're an excellent model.
It's the first time that I actually have a bit of fun while wearing clothes, and it's all about fun, I think, Suit Supply in a way. It's real fun clothing and real very stylish and most importantly very nice to wear and very soft. So anyhow, do we have a final look at social media before we close the show? Or we have a final look? Let's have a look at what you're talking about. If you're not talking about suits, well, we're talking about 2 minutes talking about how is that even the tellers at other stations don't know if the buses are working. They're talking about the bus, of course, the buses this morning. Taxi in sheepskin says, bonjour. I can tell you that all of the Gautrain bus drivers are back at work now. Some of them will face disciplinary action, though. Bus drivers go on strike every second month. It's a trend. Yes, it is a trend. And then, Third Dude says, this bus strike was perfectly timed to hurt us the most. Well played, bus drivers, well played. Well, I don't think it was so bad, was it, in the end? Anyhow. let's close it off. Thank you for watching Newsroom this morning. Of course, we come out to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa every weekday morning between 9 and 10 a.m. The show repeats at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with a rebroadcast at 5 a.m. the following morning. We are also streaming live on YouTube between 9 and 10 every morning, with our whole show then available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel all of the time. This is SABC News. You've been watching Newsroom. We love it in the morning.